Hey everybody, welcome back to Avondale Sky Winery. I'm Karl Coutinho, along here with, of course, Ben Swetnam, and we'd like to thank you and welcome you back for September Sky Club release. We are still going to continue to do the videos, even though we hope to see a lot of you in person at our Sky Club release on Sunday, September the 12th. Before we get going, I thought I'd just mention, for those of you that were members in June, you would have received our Sparkling L'Acadie, our 2015 Sparkling L'Acadie. And I guess it's my honor and my pleasure to share with all of you that our good friend here, Ben, actually won a Lieutenant Governor's Award for Excellence in Wines for this wine. It's quite an honor to have someone as talented as Ben on our team to do this. But this wine was one of about 40 submitted from 15 different wineries in Nova Scotia, and it was one of 4 winners. So, I mean, Ben, that means a lot. Behind us, you can probably maybe see a bit of some of the awards that Ben's won in the past, but it means a lot to our family, and I know a lot of our customers that appreciate the quality of the wines that you make, but receiving an award like this really sets the tone. So thank you very much for that, Ben. I just wanted to start with that, but we've got more wines to taste, and I don't know, maybe one day there'll be award winners too, but I wanted to introduce Ben, for those of you who haven't had a chance to meet him, our winemaker here at Avondale Sky Winery, and he's going to talk us through what's a bit of a bigger than normal release in terms of you're getting 6 different wines versus the regular 4, just because we've got 3 canned wines that you'll be receiving. And so without any further ado, Ben, unless you had anything else to add, we can get into it.
That's great. Yeah, so we're going to start right off with our Notorious R.E.D. And so this is the new one for most people out there, I think. This particular wine is from the 2019 vintage. And it's, I think, going to be a favorite of many of the red drinkers out there. It's definitely one of our bigger, bolder styles of red. This one, it's a red blend. I think if you're a fan of our Monte Vista red, I think you'll enjoy the Notorious R.E.D. It's very, very similar style, but just kind of gone a little bit bigger and bolder with it than a Monte Vista. Just fortunately, as a result of things being a little warmer for the last few years, the red wines have really been getting riper, and they can handle a little bit more oak time and a little bit just riper red fruit. So this one, you've got some influence from both American and French oak. So you get a really cedary, vanilla, butterscotch, toasty oak notes on the nose, as well as that ripe red fruit. A bit of a savory kind of herbal tone underneath there, and then just a nice, crisp, refreshing finish from that 2019 little bit of acidity.
It's very good. Ben, can you speak a little bit about sort of, obviously we have the cool climate, which tends to be better for the whites and maybe rosés and certainly sparklings. How do you see the difference over the past number of years now, making so many different red wines over the past decade or so?
Yeah, well, I think sort of the way that the climate has warmed, particularly the ocean temperatures rising, is lending itself towards being able to make bigger, bolder, riper reds. And for reds in particular, because you want a much lower acidity in a red wine than you would want in a whiter rosé or sparkling. So you really need that long growing season, as much heat as you can get. You want the hang time for those grapes so that the acidity drops down to a level where the wines are a lot more mellow.
Yes. And
you need that time to get the tannins right, and to get the really ripe fruit characters and lose those more vegetal, underripe characters from the reds. So yeah, I think especially in the last couple of years, like 2020 and 2021 have been incredibly warm vintages, and I think you'll see that the red wines from those years are really particularly nice wines. Now this 2019, this was a cooler vintage for Nova Scotia, so you do have a little bit of that sort of refreshing acidity on the finish, but you still do get a nice ripe red fruit, a little bit of sort of red berries and cassis A lot of that kind of cedary, toasty oak character as well. A little bit of sort of vanilla from the oak, and
No, it's nice. I know we've had this for sale at the winery this summer a little bit, probably for a couple months, and it seems to be getting some good feedback from our customers. I'm not sure if any of the Sky Club members have tried it yet, but I look forward to getting feedback from them as well on this.
yeah.
In a food pairing, Ben, with this red, what would you recommend?
So this one, it is definitely like a really good food pairing wine because it does have a little bit more of that acidity from the 2019 vintage. It really lends itself to anything with like a tomato-based sauce or anything with that matching acidity, because the acidity in the food will kind of cut through the acidity in the wine, and it'll make them both taste a little kind of smoother and rounder. Also, just with that kind of toasty character from the oak, it really works well with barbecue or anything, smoked or toasted. Or,
Nice.
Anything from a plank salmon to a big, rich tomato-based pasta dish. A lot of options for that.
Yeah, awesome. That's great. Thank you.
All right.
Got up there for
Yeah. Next up, we have our new vintage of Lady Slipper 2020.
Thank you.
So this is pretty comparable, I think, with Lady Slipper year after year, but 2020 was such a warm, ripe vintage. We'll notice it's a little bit softer, a little bit easier drinking than most year. The fruit edges towards more ripe red fruit character than like in the cooler years you get more of a raspberry, cranberry kind of note.
Right.
And then this year it still has that, but it also leans a bit more towards like a strawberry or even a red currant kind of thing.
Okay. No, it's very good. I know it's one of our most popular wines, but certainly our most popular rosé. And I know with pairings, I know with a lot of the rosés, there's a lot of people like to have them on their own. I know Lady Slipper seems to be the most versatile with food. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, it's a very easy food wine because it again has a slightly lower alcohol, so it can handle a bit of heat. It's got a nice acidic backbone with just a bit of residual sugar, so it can handle kind of a lot of different ranges of food, whether it be kind of herbal driven or kind of fruity, a little bit sweet, a little bit rich and fatty. Like it can kind of handle almost anything. Certainly we've noticed in pairing it with the various courses that Brady has been preparing here at the restaurant, there's almost nothing that the Lady Slipper doesn't work with.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And of course it's always the classic easy pairing for Thanksgiving, Christmas dinner, those kind of things, Easter dinner, whether you're a ham family or a turkey family or a duck. It really works with those kinds of things.
No, that's awesome. And it's usually readily available at the winery and also at the NSLC. So it's one of those ones that tends to have a following, like our Title Bay and some other wines that anyone can try. But certainly, the Sky Club has probably received a Lady Slipper for a number of years, a different vintage every year, of course. So we're hoping that you guys enjoy this one as much as you have the others in the past.
Yeah. And next up we have the 3 different wines in can. And first up we have our Nirvana here. And so this year we opted out of bottling any Nirvana and we put it all in cans. We purchased a new tank to be able to force carbonate wines. So a very different production method from a traditional method sparkling, where you get that, a very long process, and you get a really refined, really intense bubble. From a traditional method that takes years and years to make this, you get kind of a light, easy drinking bubble that takes, just a few months after the wine is ready to go. But you have the convenience of portability in a can, so you can take these anywhere where you're not allowed to bring glass. They also they cool down a lot faster in an ice-filled cooler. The aluminum's a great heat and cold conductor. So
Yeah.
you can chill one of these cans down pretty quick.
Absolutely.
But yeah, anywhere, golf course, by a pool, at a beach, on a hike, on a boat,
Yeah.
wherever it is that you would like to take a bottle of wine and maybe shouldn't have glass for risk of breakage, the aluminum's not going to cause you any problems.
Oh, that's great. And I like the way you were kind of explaining the difference between why it's not considered a traditional method sparkling. The term frizzante, so Nirvana is a frizzante wine. Is that exactly what you're explaining? Is that what frizzante means?
Frizzante itself would be an Italian term, and typically just refers to a wine that is lightly carbonated, but not like to a full carbonation.
Okay.
Typically that would be a forced carbonated product.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, it's delicious, as were the previous vintages of Nirvana, and I'm excited to see. I mean, we've only had them on the shelves for about a month so far, and they seem to be very popular. You tend to kind of associate cans with the summer, like all the activities we just said, but I would say, like, people drink wine all year round, so if these are going to keep well in cans, like, there's no reason they wouldn't. So
no, they should be great for a year or so.
Yeah.
And really, like, just an easy thing. I know, like, friends of mine like the cans because they'll just stick a couple cans in their purse or something when they're headed to a party, rather than lug around a bag or a bottle. So I think leading into the fall, and then Christmas parties, things like that. Something that's really easy to drink and bring and share.
For sure.
Whatever you choose to do with them.
I find, like, even with the outdoor events in the winter, like, if it's you have an outdoor rink, or maybe your kids are going to the rink, and you've got to you're not saying that you're going to have it at the rink itself, but it's one of those things that we certainly with the Nirvana and the Bliss Bubbly, which we'll get to as well. They're wines that people enjoy year round, so it's like, well, there don't have to be summer wines, but certainly the Summer Sizzler, which we're pouring now, tends to feel like it should be a summer wine, but they're not limited to that. If you like them, the good news is they're good 12 months a year. So,
yeah, definitely something that great to bring a can if you're going for a skate on the pond.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Why not?
It's trying to replace where you would typically maybe have taken a can of beer or whatever it may be, and I mean, we're obviously not the only game in town going to the cans, but we just wanted to make sure we were selecting, the wines that we could highlight that you do so well, and make sure that there were ones that aren't going to be brand new to customers. If they're used to Nirvana and they're used to sort of a Bliss, then hopefully it's something that they know what they're getting, and the taste is exactly, minus the vintage being a little different, that they're exactly the same flavor profile.
Yeah, and I think we definitely focused on 3 wines that are very easy drinking on their own. Like, certainly they are able to be paired with a meal or with food, but they're definitely 3 wines that don't require food. They're just very easy drinking on their own. Good for any occasion.
Yep.
And certainly the Nirvana, I would go towards lighter food if you're planning to pair it with things. And similarly with the Summer Sizzler, would lean towards like a light, like a berry or a fruit salad, something like that. And then so let's talk about the Summer Sizzler.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So
this is the one that we make exclusively in a can. Of course, we have Nirvana and Bliss in the bottle. So, tell us a little bit about the Sizzler this year.
So this is what I would call a blush style of rosé, where it is a blend of rosé, red grapes, as well as some white wine. So you've got Leon Milo as kind of the main grape, giving it that color and those red fruit notes. But then you've also got some Vidal and some Frontenac Blanc and some Osceola Muscat in there as well. So you get kind of a complex blend of different fruit notes as
Yeah.
well as that, like that red fruit and that kind of watermelon. You get a bit of that peach from the white grapes, a little bit of a floral note as well.
Totally. And so I know you mentioned Leon below and also Vidal, and they're the same two prominent grapes in the Lady Slipper.
Yeah.
So how do you get such different flavor profiles? Is it like the carbonation? Is it because there's a couple extra varietals in there?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to blending wines, the yeasts that you use in the various different base ferments makes a big difference, but like a small change in a blend can make a pretty huge difference, like a 5% difference of one grape or another.
Really?
I know every year in doing the trials for Tidal Bay, it's always the first thing I blend out, and just little tweaks of, sometimes even 2-3% different of one
Is that
versus another can make a huge difference in how the wine tastes. And in this particular instance, the Lady Slipper is almost entirely Leon Milo, and the Summer Sizzler, I think, is around a third.
Okay.
So there's a pretty significant difference in the blend there.
Okay.
And then the residual sugar as well. There's a lot more of sweeter components blended in with drier components with the Summer Sizzler, whereas the Lady Slipper is mostly dry ferments.
Right. Well, they're all delicious. And our last can of the day here.
Yeah, we've got our Bliss Bubbly. And this one we carbonated to a slightly lower volume of CO2. So you'll find that the Nirvana and the Summer Sizzler are pretty comparable as far as how fizzy they are. And with the Bliss, you'll find it's a little more of a subtle kind of just a tickle of carbonation on the finish.
So with that tickle, is it keeping it more just like the flat wine, if you will, like just like Bliss out of a bottle, but just enough difference that there's a bit of carbonation, I guess.
Yeah, I think when you're carbonating a wine, dissolved CO2 is technically like an acid, so you're adding a little bit of acidity to the wine by carbonating it. And with the Bliss, it's already got like such a strong acidic backbone that I felt like if I were to fully carbonate it to the level that Summer Sizzler and Nirvana is, it would actually just dry it out too much. And so I wanted to keep that sugar acid balance that's there in Bliss, so just giving that little bit of freshness.
No, that's great.
So if you were to taste it side by side with the bottle would probably taste a little sweeter, and that's just because even though they're exactly the same wine, with that bit of CO2 in the can, it makes it come across a little bit drier.
Just enough to change it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. And I mean, obviously Bliss has been probably one of our flagship wines here at Avondale Sky. That's, some people say, oh, Avondale Sky, are you the people that make Bliss? And then it's always, yeah. And now it's like, now we offer it in a can. So we're trying to make it, obviously, like we said, more convenient. But also there are still people that, may not go buy a bottle of wine. So, they might try a can or buy 6 different cans from six different wineries. So it's our way to try and get out there a little bit and get, for those of us, those of them who have not tried us before or not tried our wine before, to have a dabble, and hopefully they enjoy it and come back. So I think you did a great job with it, and you can't beat the convenience of having a 6-pack like this. And so they're kind of going off the shelves pretty quick here now, but we hope to still have some, for the next few months, certainly to carry us through. So thank you for all the hard work on these ones, because they're delicious, and I know it was a little bit out of what we were usually doing here, so we've done well.
Well, it's something new every year, so it's a good learning curve, and I think we figured it out.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too.
And so far, so good. The cans seem to be holding up well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And last but not least, we have our white Pinot Noir. So this wine in years past was called Blanc de Noir, our still Blanc de Noir, and just to kind of avoid confusion that was happening with Blanc de Noir, our sparkling traditional method from 2012, 2011, and soon 2013. There's a kind of a small but very loyal following for the Blanc de Noir still version, which is on the sweeter end of things, and sometimes people were coming in after a year or two because we don't make it every year because we don't always have enough Pinot Noir to do it, and being a bit confused by like saying, "Oh, I want the Blanc de Noir," and then we'd hand them the sparkling, and
Right.
that's not what I'm looking for. So
Yeah.
just to clear things up, it's white Pinot Noir now,
Yeah.
but it is the same wine, the same method of production, same grapes from right here in our estate vineyard.
Yeah.
And yeah, just a really like nice, interesting, sweeter, easy drinking wine. That Pinot Noir grape really kind of expresses itself nicely in this form. Kind of designed it to be for like the Pinot Grigio drinking crowd, but maybe just a little bit on the sweeter edge of that.
For sure.
And it's got that like a really intense sort of watermelon, strawberry, plum kind of thing on the nose, just really ripe and interesting.
Yeah. And for our guests that are tuning in and watching, you know, when you talk about Pinot Noir, it's a versatile grape. It's also, I know it's the heartbreak grape, according to Pete, our vineyard manager. Like, but can you tell us a little bit about how the decision-making process goes from saying, okay, same grape, I could make a red wine, I could make a sparkling wine, or I could do something like this with a white Pinot Noir still. So, like, just to indulge everybody on what that conversation looks like, what the right parameters are between you and our vineyard crew.
Yeah, so like our focus with the Pinot Noir here had always been to do traditional method sparkling wine with it. Just because the climate is such in Nova Scotia that you can't really guarantee you're going to make a quality red every year, because you need a fair bit of heat and that really long hang time. And as you mentioned, it's the heartbreak grape, because it's thin-skinned. It's very susceptible to all sorts of diseases, mildews, and so you really have to keep a close eye on it. And it can go from looking perfect to being dead just over a couple of days. And so the longer you hang it, the more risk you're taking there.
Right.
And to do a red consistently, I think you really have to crop it to an obscenely low crop level in Nova Scotia to get it ripe enough. We're still cropping it very low by international standards. We're probably half of what anybody would crop it at. And for sparkling, probably a third of what they would crop it at even in Champagne.
Right.
So that's our focus, is to do the sparkling. But when you do sparkling wine, you have to process the grapes so incredibly gently that you're leaving a lot of juice behind. So we do a whole cluster press. We don't put anything through the crusher destemmer. All the bunches just get tossed straight into the press. They get very gently pressed out over the period of about 2 hours. And we take that first few pressings of the juice, and that is what goes into the sparkling wine production. But then you're leaving, a third of the juice behind in those berries. So then we press them again just a little bit harder to get the rest of that juice out. And that juice, it's a little more intense because you've got some of the tannins from the stems, you've got a bit more color, and so you don't necessarily want to use that for a sparkling wine. When a sparkling wine is fully carbonated, it really amplifies everything that's present in the base wine, and so that those third and fourth pressings that we make this white Pinot Noir out of would not necessarily produce a very good sparkling wine, but they make a really nice still wine because you don't have that carbonation amplifying a little bit of extra pressing.
So essentially, it's the same tonnage of grapes that can make two different wines.
Yeah. So
it's pretty good.
Literally do, and it's very common in many parts of the world to do what's called like a press fraction or a press cut, where you take the first part and make a different wine than you would make out of the second part.
And if I do say so myself, I know this is delicious, and I know the Blanc de Noir is delicious. So we're obviously doing good things with the grapes. So, but I think a lot of people sometimes say, "Well, Pinot Noir, like, why is it white, or why is it sparkling? Why isn't it red?" Because they associate, Pinot Noir being a red wine. So I appreciate the explanation, as I'm sure our members do as well. And as always, Ben, thanks for talking us through it. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to all of you, and we look forward to seeing you guys in September. Take care.
Thanks, everybody. Enjoy.